Let's do this! Come on! Now we're getting somewhere!
Hi guys, welcome to the 6th episode of Guess the Rank. This time we're looking at Zenyatta on Numbani. We haven't seen any Zenyatta so far, so it'll be interesting to see if we can work out what level this guy is playing at. Straight off the bat I can see a Lucio. Zenyatta and Lucio can be a risky combo as there's no burst healing at all. Lucio can obviously put out more now, but he has to be there and it won't be possible for him to be everywhere at once. So as soon as the enemy team commit to a push and manage to split the defending team, it's likely already over. The team is already split up. It'd be better if the healing orb was already on the frontline player ready for the push, but Genji was killed so fast that I doubt it would have made a difference anyway. This player is actually calling their discords, which I think is important with Zen, but obviously more useful when your team can coordinate. Some trouble with the tracking landing those shots as Zen, which fortunately isn't really shut down as the enemy team don't seem to be very aware of his presence. Due to this, I'm leaning towards a match Diamond or under, as anything above would definitely leave you punished. Also, most people in higher ranks wouldn't be running the Lucio Zen combo anyway. At least not on defense. Genji pushing forward again, and feeding the enemy team. That's not a very good sign.
Bottom right.
Ryan's discorded.
Ooh, that's a very premature roll. Now hear me out, Zen actually ulted before Roadhog decided to. It was just by luck that they overlapped, but what follows is unfortunate. It's easy to forget that Zen is still susceptible to knockbacks when ulting, so it's best to stay clear of the edges and stay with the majority of the team.
I got Hog discorded.
You can see that the player is actively looking for the most at-risk player to orb in preparation for them taking damage, which is good and preemptive. You can also see forward fault with the charged right click, but it takes some practice to time it in a way that doesn't result in you wasting shots and having to reload at unfortunate times.
Hog discorded again.
Calling the enemy's position is good to hear, especially considering many people aren't communicating so far. Zen can be very susceptible to flanking traces, and unless the player can aim really well, it's a lost battle most of the time. That's why it's a good idea for Zen and Lucio to be within each other's reach, that way they'll both be harder to kill.
Tracer. Ana on point, focus Ana.
Going for the discord on Ana is smart and shows good target priority, but another ult that just wasn't necessary.
Can our DPS look at this?
Zen's ults are best used to counter the enemy team's ult pushes. It's another fine art with Zen, as in high level games he will often be focused first when people know he has his ult.
Soldier discorded.
He's lit, he's lit.
Ryan discorded.
This point could have been held if Zenyatta's ult was used then, which is a great shame with only 20 seconds left. I won't say losing the first point is completely on Zen, but he definitely could have single-handedly saved that then.
Tracer, no recall.
Zen would be much better here staying on the high ground with Hanzo, as Hanzo can use his scatter to take care of a flanking tracer. It also gives Zen an angle on enemies behind Ryan's shield. High ground also makes it far more difficult for Tracer to get in range and also gives her less of an angle to strafe when fighting.
Ryan discorded. Need help with Tracer.
Red's half.
On the final point, I want to see some good ults that shut down the enemy's ults, otherwise Ana would have been a far better pick so far.
Tracer's discorded.
I'm gonna ult them when they go in this choker. We're stuck here.
Big waste of a Lucio there, which will put more pressure on Zenyatta to have his ready. What was Ryan thinking charging back like that? Theoretically this is fine. Without Ryan's shield the whole team are very susceptible to Soldier's ult. The thing is though, the enemy team haven't really used their momentum to push forward at that moment anyway. Still, this was the first reasonable ult I've seen so far this game. I can see that mechanically this player understands the order of their priorities. They're making sure their orb is on the lowest person and discording targets they're focusing, so that's not an issue. But they definitely need to work on their aim in order to maximise their damage output. This is quite an easy area to choke here and requires a very coordinated push in order to beat it. The enemy team seem to be wasting ults and not coordinating at all. They could be making use of this high ground or sending flankers behind to take care of Zen, but no one seems to have considered either of those things. They're probably the easiest ways to break up this choke, if you don't have a Zaya or any other ults that can give you a massive advantage. They still have time though. Send the soldier up to the balcony so he can ult from above. No one will be able to stop him. It's strange that no one has even considered this. What about sending the Roadhog up there so he can get a hook entry? There's no reason not to at least try this stuff if you're being bogged down. Realistically though, the easiest option is to send someone behind to kill Zenyatta. I mean, it's clearly possible. But you can't have the Tracer flanking behind at the end of the fight because she'll just get focused as you just saw. So realistically they need to coordinate and send someone behind as the front line pushes in. But I mean, this is the other team anyway, that's not really what we're looking at, but it does give you a bit of an indication as to what kind of rank we're looking at here.
Tracer's half.
She's discorded.
There we go.
Lucio. I have Soldier discorded. Nice shots, McCree.
Good shit. Nice pick. I have ult.
Tracer's discorded. Tracer's probably gonna have full spawn.
She already used it.
They have to push in.
We haven't seen a lot of coordinated pushes from the enemy team so far.
Again.
And that's the end of the first half. The enemy team didn't really come in with anything significant in terms of ults at all.
Just wait till we get a pick and then go.
On attack now then.
Just go
No
main,
dive
just go
comp.
main behind Ryan.
Again, something more commonly seen at higher levels, but makes attacking the first point on Numbani so much easier. Without the dive comp, you're looking to take the path of least resistance. If you can take high ground, it gives you a good advantage, but if you can make it through main road, you force the enemy team to drop down anyway. You just need some more mobile to deal with heroes who can afford to stay on high ground, like Soldier. This team doesn't really have that, but the enemy Soldier seems to be a minor inconvenience anyway.
Yeah, I'm leaving that shit on you. Sombra on me from our spawn.
Somber's on point.
It doesn't look like they can decide what they really want to do. They don't seem to be committed to fighting, but they're also not committed to backing off. This isn't great for the enemy team at all.
Nice. Or do they have them? They do have.
Payload, somebody's gotta be on the payload.
Discord's on Diva. Discord's on Ryan, he's hella low. Diva again.
Now I wonder who's moving the payload. Zen should be less aggressive here and let the DPS do their thing. As long as he can get an angle to heal them and discord the enemy team, it's fine. But if the payload isn't moved a reasonable distance, the enemy team can spawn and fight again.
What
Back
soldier?
to cart, back to cart.
The same thing again, at least it shows what I'm saying. It's good to push for the shutdown when you have a player advantage. But there's a perfect point where you'll get the carts to the checkpoint without the enemy team even being able to recontest. That's a good ult there that stops the enemy team from gaining momentum to take over the fight. As I said before, there's a good chance that if no one's actually pushing the payload, that the enemy team will have the option to recontest.
Soldier, careful.
It would be very dangerous to lose that fight as you lose control of the payload and makes it much harder to take it when they have the high ground to
They're
defend
wasting
from.
so many ults.
So this ult was necessary.
D.Va.
It was actually followed by the enemy soldier's ult, but
Yeah,
at the same
boy.
time the fight had already been lost anyway, so he wouldn't have been able to do very much unless they exposed themselves massively.
Hammer, nerf. What else?
Soldier. And EMP at the start. She won't have EMP yet.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah,
they have
You
res.
can see some pretty good positioning here as well, as
and
Zen
high noon.
is at the back of his team, so he can
Winston
see everyone
discorded.
on his team and still have
what
range
you
to
have?
damage the
Oh.
enemy team.
I've Ana discorded low ground. We're looking at Winston discorded. Oh, Mercy, nice stun.
Quite a quick game in the end.
Yeah.
Let's take a
Dad.
look then.
Good shit.
Great game, guys. Pleasure playing with you. Thanks for the career high.
Good. You can't fault this player's communication. All game long they've been calling the enemy positions, their discords, and they even advised Lucio to use his ult in a high pressure situation. This kind of clear and concise communication is all you need to give your team an advantage in a match. They've also got a good grasp in the order in which they should be doing things. They're still putting healing before damage by making sure their orb is on the lowest teammate and trying to discord and focus the highest priority enemy target. If they can't do that, then they break down the enemy Ryan's shield, which is just as important. What do we see here that could be better though? Aim. The aim is a little wonky at times, and it should be quite easy to land headshots on a Roadhog for example. It takes a bit of practice to get used to the hero hitboxes, but Roadhog is very easy for Zenyatta to nuke down. There are also a fair few other situations where shots have gone missed that could have done a lot of damage. The more you practice, the easier it is, so it's not really a massive issue. Defensive play. On attack, Zen pushes quite hard without considering who of their team is actually on the payload. Discord orbs are obviously important for securing a push, but that push is nothing without the payload moving forward. If anything, I would suggest Lucio is the one to support the people pushing aggressively, as he has the speed to push them forward, and get them back if necessary. This second point could have gone a lot smoother if 3 people were on the payload at all times, and it would likely have made it 1 fight instead of 2. Of course the player advantage made it worth shutting the enemy team down, but Zen doesn't need that much of an angle to be of use to his team there. Ulting. From the first half it feels like this player was ulting in anticipation of bad situations, instead of ulting reactively to bad situations. The higher you go up the ranks, the more likely people are to try and bait it out, and if they do manage that, then you may as well have been playing Ana. There's a solid line with Zen, where you are able to anticipate an enemy team's committed push, and are able to work out when they're just poking. The second half was much better though, with ults used at a key point in the second checkpoint fight. I'm going to guess that this player is Diamond. They have a good grasp of their hero and their communication can't be flawed. They know how important it is to pick off supports first, which can be rare to see sometimes. The only thing letting them down is their aim and potentially their trigger happy ultimates. But what rank are they? Platinum. Maybe I should have anticipated that more by looking at the enemy team's flaky pushes and lack of coordination. But any team at any rank can be uncoordinated. It's just pub after all. What did you guys think? I've decided to extend this series for another couple of episodes since you guys enjoy it so much. Thanks for watching. And remember to submit me any VODs that you have ready for the last few episodes.